Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sunday Show. I hope everybody is doing great today. Um, it's been um, it's been a week for me, and hopefully this show will go great. Um, I don't want to get into the long-winded story about my week because nobody came here to hear about that. So, um, let's get some bills paid first off. Hit that subscribe button. Guys, I am literally 82 subscribers away from 500. That means I'm right there where I can start getting super chats. I'm down to one light. It's just getting to that point. One little ring light sitting in front of me. That's it. If I had the money for a ring light, I would definitely go get a better one than the one I get at Walmart. Trust and believe, but I don't. But support me on by subscribing to this channel. Subscribing is literally free. Subscribing is literally free, doesn't cost you anything. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell the person down the street you don't like, but you say hi to them anyway. Tell everybody you know so I can hit that 500 subscriber. Support me on Patreon, as I was saying before. I am down to one ring light that's on its last leg. Um, it starts at $2 a month. Um, that $2 a month goes to help me tremendously. And lastly, most importantly, I said I was going to have a better link. Contribute to the First Baptist Church North Drama virtual comedy fundraiser. That is incorrect. It should say virtual scavenger hunt, but the link is good. As I mentioned, the past 2 weeks, we are trying to have a drama camp for children in the inner city. Takes course over 8 weeks. It will start June 20th and end August the 16th. We're trying to raise $3,500 so that children will have basic instruction in theater, dance, singing, acting, confidence building, all those good things. So please make sure to drop your donation. That link is good. The name is wrong, but that link is still good. Um, you should be able to do it by Tuesday. I know right now it'll say we're not accepting donations, but I want to get you used to hearing about this because I will be talking about this every podcast I do till August. So appreciate that. So, Paul, how are you doing this evening?
Doing well. A little spur of the moment. I was hoping that we're going to have another member of our team on here to chat with you. But I'm glad that I'm here. Yeah, just it just happened to be. So happy to chat with you on this fine Sunday evening.
Is this you?
Yeah,
Oh, no, it
no.
can't be you.
Real progress in action might be Steve, Mr. or illustrious
Yeah,
leader,
and that's
fearless leader, Mr.
Steve.
Grumbine. It might
Yeah, I was
be
gonna say, now Steve knows he still owes me an interview. I'm not gonna mention it. I know he's busy
yeah.
and everything like that, and blah 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 blah. But I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just speaking those things as not as though they were. That's what I believe in, so that's what I'm gonna do. But thank you for tuning in.
And you
Um,
show up like a trooper for us.
don't I
So
know?
you
I
do.
know there almost every now. I wasn't there Tuesday before last, but
This one is going to be great. Coming up this Tuesday, where it's going to be on. I don't know if you had the chance to listen to the Macaroni and Cheese podcast this week, but it's with Luna Oi, or her name is Luna Nguyen. She's a Vietnamese translator and Marxist theorist. She has a big YouTube channel of her own, and so she's going to be talking about, or she did talk to the interview with Steve was about the history of Vietnam War from the perspective of a Vietnamese person, a Vietnamese family who suffered a lot, as the whole entire nation did, right, for 15 more than that years, just because of all the repercussions after it. And she gets into that, the economics of how we imposed trade embargoes and all this kind of stuff. So really, sobering story. Jules, one of our membership leaders, said that she's listened to every single 380 episodes, and she said this one, was maybe her favorite. So if you guys are free a Tuesday night, come by Macro and Chill. We have a Zoom webinar that we listen to the podcast and chat. So.
Yep. And so tonight's topic is a little bit different. I've been treading this MMT journey for a little bit. It still confuses me, if I'm to be honest, but it's getting clearer and clearer by the day. I think my knowledge is way better than what it used to be as a person that was like MMT, math, martial, and theory. Okay. I
Yeah.
didn't even know what MMT stood for. And so now I know at least it's modern monetary theory. See, I know that.
Yeah.
But anytime I have questions about something, I will always ask. And I'm not scared to say I'm unintelligent, because in this sense I am unintelligent. The topic tonight is cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Just a FYI, everybody, I don't understand anything. There's nothing I understand about. I don't even understand regular currency, much
Mm.
less now you're going to ask me to understand cryptocurrency. So my first question
Mm.
is, when I think about currency, I think about an object that you can use to purchase things like a house, a car,
Mm.
uh, something like that, and something costs X amount of dollars. But apparently, cryptocurrency does not work like that. Apparently, or if it does, please let me know. Because I'm like, well, how come you can't? When this first came around, it was Bitcoin, right? So I'm going to use
Right.
Bitcoin as all cryptocurrency, because I know there's more than one, but Bitcoin is the one that I'm more familiar with.
Right.
I'm like, well, my house costs 112,000. So could I take 112,000 Bitcoins and buy my house? I mean, that's
Yeah.
the way I was literally thinking about it. And then somebody
Yeah.
was like, no, it's an investment tool. But if it's an investment tool, then how do you get cash back from it? That's the
Right.
first part that I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, the cryptocurrency, I think, is a little bit of a misnomer, because it's when you think about currency, usually currency refers to state currency, so the state's unit of account, and only the state, not even banks, can create currency. So the state, when it spends, it creates currency out of nothing. And cryptocurrency, as you said, it's really more of a investment tool. It's a commodity. It's not a currency at all, really. I mean, I guess there are growing opportunities for people to pay for things with crypto, um, but it's really on the margins, because you're never required. I think that is I like the way Warren Mosler, I think, explained, who's one of the like MMT kind of founders, kind of explained it. Like, do you need cryptocurrency to pay your taxes? No. Do you need cryptocurrency to even necessarily buy groceries at the store, or does it like get you a specific type of like chip in a game that like provide that you can only get through paying in that specific type of crypto or Bitcoin or whatever? No. So it doesn't really, cryptocurrency doesn't really have an intrinsic value of its own. You can't, much the same way gold, like you can't, you know um uh gold has very like limited intrinsic value, right? Like, what can you actually do with gold? You can't eat it, right? You can't make a fire with it. You can't, like, it's a good conductor, like, but it's a commodity. And so these cryptocurrencies are really just commodities, and their value is is based on not much, but other people is willing to hold them and sell them and buy them. Like that's people are making bets on bets basically. It kind of reminds me kind of like derivative trading. Like the value in some ways is often, I mean, I don't think it's a stretch to call them Ponzi schemes, because there is no value of the crypto itself. Like they have these like giant dating machine. I don't know exactly how this works. Like I'm a little bit fuzzy on some of the details. That's why I said like I'm not like the best person to talk about crypto, but like I know that it requires an enormous amount of energy of these servers, like data mining, basically these cryptocurrencies, and in the same way that like AI sucks enormous amounts of energy and water to cool down these like supercomputer, like giant servers and stuff like that. Crypto takes an enormous amount of energy to do this kind of data mining for Bitcoin or whatever else, and it's not necessarily based on anything but other people willing to trade them. It doesn't, you can't settle your accounts in it, right? Like you can't settle your accounts to the U.S. government in it. Even though in the rare examples, there are like a couple of countries in the world, I think, that are now, technically in some weird way, they'll say like, okay, yeah, we'll take your crypto for your payment and taxes. Ultimately, always gets transferred, changed back into the state's unit of account. Like it always gets sold. It has to be sold to some state's unit of account for it to actually be used to like purchase other stuff. Because not everyone is like hanging around with a bag of crypto, right? And you don't know, no one else pays their taxes in crypto. That's what gives money value, and it's really important to like reiterate all the time from like an NFT perspective. And it's strange, I know, but it's taxes that give money value, and that's its intrinsic value. You need the state's unit of account in order to fulfill your tax obligations. That's not true for crypto. It's just another commodity, really. It's a digital commodity, and has this kind of fleeting value, but I hope that made sense. I'll stop there.
Okay, so apparently Rodney's having tech issues.
Maybe. Okay. He got a new computer recently, so maybe he might be dealing with some internet and issues on it. That's good to know. I
And I
messaged
think
him.
that kind of lost look on my face because because when I got introduced for this, I got introduced to and I don't even know if I'm calling it the right thing.
Hmm.
So I'm just gonna go with the whole. Again, I'm gonna refer to all cryptocurrency as Bitcoin because that's the only one I know.
Yeah.
Israel Yang and some people that are I don't think he's moderate. I think he's more of an economist. Um, it's like this is the future. This is gonna get rid of the dollar. And I'm like, what?
Nah.
It
Nah.
just didn't make sense. I'm like, so and I'm thinking, okay, because I'm always thinking, I'm a practical person. Nobody's ever asked me, hey, you're paying for that gasoline, it's 10 Bitcoins. Nobody's ever said that. So how did he jump from this is a commodity, as you stated, to
Hmm.
no, this is the future of currency. This is the way we're going to do it.
There are a lot of people who really do think on these lines, and I think most of them are just misguided. I'm really speculating on stuff, so don't take my word for it. Okay. I don't know. I sent him a message. I will see. Maybe he can. Um, and Rob, if you want to jump on, then I'm sure Tracy wouldn't be opposed. But
Nope, I won't.
so like again, I think that there are some people who do have this kind of like futuristic mindset about like, okay, we're gonna progress past the horse and buggy to the future currency that's we don't that's not dependent. I think a lot of it is you know neoliberalism infecting the minds, not just neoliberalism, but like um, uh, monetarist kind of views infecting the mind, which means like thinking about money not as a creature of state, not as like an infinite resource that the state can create on its own, but like like a commodity, like the reason that we people complain a lot of at the time, the reason that we have inflation is because we're not on a gold standard anymore, and so we need to go back to a gold standard, or okay, that this cryptocurrency, okay, that'll take the power away from the state, and then, which is a terrible idea. I mean, we privatize everything in our world, and I don't think it's for the better. But I'm blocking on the one of the main theorists. I don't know, Rob, if you can put it in the chat, who is really big on like the idea of privatizing a currency itself. I think it was with we were talking with him about with Brett Scott or Rowan Gray or one of those guys. He mentioned it, but the idea that and one of the reasons why, if you even did move to like some like ultimate like crypto where everything is we no longer have like the state creating money, and instead we're digging this all out of like data centers, cryptocurrency out of data centers. The terrible thing about that, and the same thing applies to the gold standard, is to some degree there's a limited quantity of it. There are only certain number of computers that you can have running, like making this stuff, right? Data mining, all this like has limits, and so in the same way, it might, the different limits than how much literal gold you can dig out of the ground to back your currency or whatever. But if your government wanted to have some kind of public program, and and it's the ability for your government to spend is limited by how much stuff you can make or how much you can dig out of the ground, in terms of like what's backing the currency, then you have a real problem. I mean, like our world's already resource based, so the question about like how much the government can spend is based on how much labor, how much available labor you have, right? And how many raw materials, and how much, when you have enough infrastructure and technology and all that kind of stuff. To artificially limit your government's ability to do that by saying, okay, we will only spend as much as if we can dig this much more amount of gold out of the ground or whatever, it artificially limits your government's ability to do a lot of stuff. The result would be like inflation, because there's then. So sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say this sounds like monopoly money.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it's like it has, you said it, cryptocurrency has no value, like no value whatsoever. It's just all speculative. And I'm using
yeah,
monopoly, I'm using terminology I understand. So everybody in the audience,
yeah,
I'm trying to get there. But to me, it's sounding like that. Monopoly money doesn't mean anything unless you're playing Monopoly. And it
yeah.
sounds to me what you're describing is cryptocurrency doesn't mean anything if nobody puts any type of value on
Exactly. It's all, the value is always all determined by, okay, you're making bets on other people making bets, basically. That's really what it is. And in order to get the value out of it, you can only buy crypto with units of state currency, right? And when
it.
you
Right. Because I was like,
cash it
okay,
out,
because
what?
you could go to the gas station and buy Bitcoins. You don't get like physical coins, I don't think, because I've never bought
Mhm,
Bitcoin, so I don't know. I think they give you like
mhm.
a receipt. Pretty sure they do. But yeah, that's why I use the term monopoly money, because if I'm playing Candyland, okay, Candyland's for little children, but you get where I'm going, right? If I'm playing some other game, that
Mhm,
monopoly money doesn't mean anything. It's
mhm.
just useless unless, again, I'm actually playing the game Monopoly. Then it means something, right? And
It,
it doesn't sound like to me, and maybe you're describing something else and I just don't
no, no,
understand it, that
no.
crypto doesn't mean anything if there's no speculative process to it. If
Right.
nobody's speculating on it, well, what does it really mean?
Right, and that's what makes it kind of, very much akin to a Ponzi scheme, because at some point, I mean, what is it actually based on? That's the argument that people make about the dollar, right? Fiat currency. But in reality, you have the largest, one of the largest countries in the world with all these financial institutions, like with actual resources behind it. The full faith of the dollar is backed up not just by other people's wanting to trade in it. It's backed by the fact that 350 or 400 million or people here in the United States have to pay all their taxes and have to work for that currency. And anyone else who wants to do any business also, with the United States, they have to deal in dollars as well. So it really is. And so one of the things about crypto that I think people find alluring, or is the idea that they call it decentralized because the technology that it uses, which is something called blockchain, blockchain technology, it can be decentralized in the sense that like it blockchain could be utilized for a host of number of different technological projects. I mean, it is used for all sorts of stuff, but it's a way of uh, copying and recopying data, I guess. I'm not like an exact. I'm far from far from an expert on this kind of stuff. But we had a crypto expert on our show once. His name is Victor Vernissage, and I'm blocking on. Oh, I think he's called his project. He's a blockchain kind of expert theorist or something like that. He has a company or a project called Human Node, which uses blockchain, but not in the same way that cryptocurrencies often do it, which is people like to think that crypto is a way of democratizing money to make it more accessible to people, and you can have like a little piece of Bitcoin, you can have a little piece of whatever other coin it is, and so instead of submitting yourself to the state, you can buy private currency and you can deal in private currency. But the fact is that the vast majority of crypto is very, very, very concentrated into a very small, it's the Elon Musks of the world who own like 90% of this fucking shit. And
Oh, hold on.
yeah.
Now I don't allow cussing on my
Oh,
platform. now, now, Paul, 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 Paul.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're not the only one I've had to. I'm gonna give. You mean bleeping manure? That's what he meant. That's what he actually
Yes.
said. I misheard. But
Yes.
here's the thing that I'm trying to get to, because what I think, what I'm not understanding.
Mm,
Again, it's a lot about MMT that I'm just like, I don't understand it.
yeah.
But what I don't understand about, especially this cryptocurrency, is if you're trading it. Well, no,
Mm,
if let's just say I want to purchase Bitcoin.
mm,
That's what I'm gonna, and I'm sure Bitcoin is not the only type. I'm sure there's other types, but again, Bitcoin is the only one I'm going to use because that's what I use. Okay, so I go to, because the gas station up the street sells it. They actually have a little like an ATM machine, and you can just get it right there.
mm.
So I have to put some form of payment that's not Bitcoin into the machine. So
Yes.
that means a
Yes.
dollar or a credit card. If I use a
Yes.
credit card, then I'm going to have to use a dollar. I'm going to have to use
Yeah.
US currency to pay that credit card bill.
Yep.
And that's what I'm not getting. It's like,
Eh,
okay, the way it's being sold is, oh no, this is currency. Forget about the dollar. Forget about this. This is it right here. And I'm like, well, this
eh,
isn't making sense, because you can't purchase cryptocurrency without actual currency. It means if you
exactly.
use a credit card, you still have to pay the credit card bill when you. That's what I'm like, huh? What? I'm not getting it.
You're spot on. I mean, like that's probably one of the most important like recognitions ever. That I think that I don't know. I think some of the people who are very excited about it kind of skip over that part somehow. They think that it's just gonna, crypto is just gonna, become the norm by osmosis or something like that. That it's just
It's
gonna,
kind of like, yeah, it's like kind of like even the coins that and I'm gonna say showbiz pizza. I'm really showing my age there. But Chuck E. Cheese coins seem to have more. You can't even get Chuck E. Cheese coins without actual dollars.
yeah,
I can't take Chuck E. Cheese coins and be like, okay, I got 10 million. What does it mean? It doesn't
yeah.
mean anything outside that world. So I'm so curious as to how did this come to be? I mean, it
Uh,
just is like that's what I'm
yeah.
not understanding.
I don't know about the origin story. I gotta tell you, I gotta imagine that there are a handful of tech billionaires who saw an opportunity to make a lot of money. So and that's who owns the vast majority of this commodity. And because they have other assets, and because um, they hold such a dominant role in the marketplace of crypto, they can gear things towards um, their benefit. But I mean, it's also a fact that our government, I think there was going to be some kind of, I forget what, there was an Elon Musk scandal about, like, I forget what it was. I guess he holds an enormous amount in crypto. I know that
Sorry to
Tesla.
laugh. I'm so sorry to laugh at this comment.
What? Oh, is someone in a comment? I
Chuck
can't see the comments. Oh, I look at I
E.
look at the
Cheese is
comments
a good example.
from
I gotta stop
Web.
laughing because you were giving me serious information. I'm just out here like,
um. Oh, Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah. Oh, that's Wink, our friend Wink. Yeah. No, it is a good example. I mean, like, it's. I mean, but at Chuck E. Cheese, I don't. Maybe you can only buy prizes with the tokens. I forget. I don't know if
I
you can buy
think you can.
pizza.
Yeah, I remember when
You
they
buy
were
pizza.
showbiz pieces, you could actually take the coins and buy pieces. Now that much I do. That's how old I am. I do remember that. But you
Yeah.
still have to have cash to buy. You can't just
Yeah.
all these coins left.
You still have the
Mm-mm.
dollars. You still have the dollars. And like when your landlord asks you for your rent, or when you're, whatever, they're not going to they're not going to take payment in crypto. I mean, on
Yeah,
the very, very rare chance that it might, but like some, I guess there's some who would accept it because they have a crypto account, they're invested in it, and therefore they'll take it. But ultimately,
I'm like,
as soon as they want to do something, as soon as they want to purchase something with it, they have to turn it back into dollars. I like,
right. And yeah, and Parker, thank you for tuning in, Parker. NFTs are even more I'm gonna talk about NFTs a little bit
I,
later because y'all really want me to show that I don't know what the heck I'm talking about?
they
Because
blow my mind. I have absolutely no. It doesn't. They don't make any sense. I mean, so much of the stuff is so abstract, but the NFT stuff was always like, huh? Why you
yeah,
buy?
and according to this website, I'm not gonna share the screen, but I am gonna click over here. It says that Bitcoin was created by Satoshi Nakamoto, a
Yeah.
synonymous person or team of people who outlined technology in 2008 white paper. It appealingly with a simple concept, Bitcoin is digital money that allows for secure peer-to-peer transactions on the internet.
Mm.
I don't know what's wrong with regular cash or card, but apparently they had this idea. Um, every transaction involving Bitcoin is tracked with blockchains, which
Right.
is similar to a banking ledger. Yeah, this gives real detail. I should
Hmm.
have read this. Um, it was something on here that caught my attention.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it started in 2008, but I guess that's like a team of people said, "Oh no, let's the dollar, yeah, yeah." I mean, it's just you said it. I can't go to National Bank of Indianapolis. That's who holds my mortgage and say, "Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm going to give you the $1,084. I'm not going to give it to you in money or no, I'm going to give it to you in Bitcoin." And they're going to be
Mhm.
like, "Bitcoin, what? No, you're going to no." It does, and that's what I'm like. The media seems so obsessed with this idea
Mm.
of this currency that can't work without regular currency. It's like they're
Yeah.
missing something that I'm
Yeah.
obviously getting. I'm obviously understand you actually have to have currency to have this fake
Yep.
currency. That's why I made the comparison to Monopoly money and Chuck E. Cheese coins, because
Yeah.
without money, they don't have value.
Yeah.
You can't
Exactly.
spend Monopoly money just anywhere.
Nope. No. And so that is, I mean, and look, the as I was saying before, the blockchain technology, it's supposed to be really effective at protecting privacy and tracking monetary transactions and this kind of stuff, and providing a certain level of anonymity, I guess. Um, but you know it's both the way that it's used by the people who own a controlling share of it to their own benefit, and while like I had a friend who invested heavily in crypto, or an acquaintance of mine who invested in crypto heavily, and he lost like half his life savings in within the span of like 6 months. Now I'm not saying like his friends were like telling like, oh, you should get in on it because they were getting on it. But I mean, like, it's like any investment, and it's very, very difficult to know, unlike some other commodity where you can have some kind of understanding of, okay, well, have more. There are tons of commodity traders, right, who sell oil and gold and all sorts of stuff. Like we have a lot of people in the MMT space, who do this kind of stuff. But like those, you can look at historical trends, or what's on the upcoming production line, or if there is an new oil um, uh, you know oil-rich region found or something like that. You can base your conclusions on whether a commodity will go up or down. But it's so much more volatile with crypto because there really isn't much. It's not based on anything except what other people are going to buy and sell it for. Trump was into crypto in 2016, 2020.
I do have an announcement.
Exactly. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm going to get
100%.
to yours here in a second. But I do have an announcement. I forgot to do this at the top of the show. I can't believe I forgot to do it. It is 115 days until the NFL season starts. Every Sunday show, I always, because this podcast only serves one point, to get me from February to September. And then I disappear and then reappear in February. I forgot to announce that. So now to Parker's point,
Hmm.
Trump is anti, and then somebody starts paying him and it benefits him, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm torn down."
Well,
But
yeah,
flip, the
yeah.
Trump was anti crypto in 2016 to 2020, but
Hmm.
flipped to being pro crypto in 2024 campaign because that industry gave him a bunch of donations. And I
Yeah.
bet you it wasn't in crypto.
No,
Guarantee,
yeah, pretty sure it was.
guarantee.
Probably was not. It's
Guarantee they
probably
did
not.
not give him crypto. And I guess that's what I'm not understanding. So if I buy
Yeah.
these million cryptos, how do they increase in value?
I mean, it's speculation. It's speculation on what. I mean, I don't know how people make these bets. I don't understand it. I really don't. I,
Yeah,
I, I
because like,
I'm
how
sure
they
there's something there. Like I'm sure people create rationalizations or whatever I have no idea. No understand. I guess it's like depending on the basis of like maybe how much these companies are mining certain coins or not. But like it's very very. I don't even think that because it's not even based on that. It's based on like how much someone else is going to pay for them. I don't know. I
Right. That's what I'm like. Well, wait a minute, because you know how if you have because my washer and dryer, my dryer is gone. So I always have to take my laundry to the laundry. I wash it at home and then I take it to the laundromat. You know how laundromats, it takes like 2,000 quarters to dry something, right? So I'm putting in my 20 or my 10 or whatever, and I'm getting quarters back. Can you break a Bitcoin? Is there like a $20 Bitcoin, a
oh yeah.
$50 Bitcoin, or is there
Well,
just a Bitcoin?
oh no, yeah. So it's like in decimals. It's in like tiny, tiny decimals. Like one Bitcoin is I don't know what the conversion rate is, but like it's something like it might be one Bitcoin. It might be like $50,000. I don't
Yeah,
know.
because I'm
I forget. I
like,
don't know what
because
it
I know
is, but
like four quarters makes a dollar, 10
yeah,
dimes makes a dollar,
yeah.
100 pennies before they
Y-
stop. You might as well bring the penny back. I
Well,
mean,
it's
it's
all
got more value.
digital. It's all digital, right? So like when you see it on a screen, it's in like like some a Bitcoin payment will be something like 0.0235. I don't know what. Like it's fractions of fractions of fractions. Like a one Bitcoin is something like $100,000. I don't know what it is, but yeah, someone could look it up. But
Yeah,
um,
and
it
surprisingly, I understand NFTs a little bit, like it's a little bit better than digital.
yeah
I remember. So from my understanding is NFT is a it's not currency, but it's actually tied to an object. So
yeah
I'm going to use
art
this as an
art. I've
example.
seen it. I've seen art a lot, like art NFTs,
So
right?
if I made myself an NFT, like I just took a picture of myself and I made that an NFT, people could purchase that. I don't know what they do with it, but
Yeah,
this NFT craze went completely. I was like,
yeah,
okay, everybody started having NFTs.
yeah. And again, yeah, Kitty. And again, I don't know what the value of those are. I mean, I guess it's the value is based on whatever someone was willing to pay. But what is the value of having like just a graphic? I mean, a digital graphic. I don't know. I don't know.
But
It's
you
hard
can
to
make that
explain.
on. You could use AI to make a graphic.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm thinking of a
yeah,
technical graphic.
yeah,
And I think, I'm gonna read Parker's thing.
yeah,
So you have a virtual wallet that says you have like 1.3456
yeah,
bitcoins and shows the equivalent in dollars, which again, if it wasn't based off of currencies, why
yeah.
are they showing the equivalent in
Right,
dollars? But I'll just
right,
go to that
right.
portion later, which also is changing since the price is so volatile.
Yeah,
Why was okay? So we're going to get to the MMT connection. I promise, guys, we will. But I
yeah,
got to get all these questions like off of my head because it's so
yeah.
confusing. Like I said, regular currency already. I'm like, well, what?
Hmm.
This is like
Hmm.
I have no idea. Thank you for clearing up some of my confusion. Here's the other thing I get confused about
Yeah, yeah.
is why are banks selling bitcoins? Because you would think the banking
Hmm.
industry realizing, oh, currency is what we have and currency is
Hmm.
what we need.
Yeah.
Why would they then turn around and sell the thing that may potentially put them out of business?
Uh, because it's not. Because they know it's not going to put them out of business. That's why. Same reason, like it's the same reason why the Elon Musks and all the other oligarchs who are invested in Bitcoin, the technology and the operation and actual like the investment itself, like of the cryptocurrency, is because they're making money off of it. You're not. The little
Yeah,
guy
I'm not.
who might own $50,000 worth of Bitcoin might see their whole savings go up in flames. But the people who at the top who own a significant portion of it have other can certainly I would assume because of the domination of the market itself can move, coordinate in different ways that allows them to not, allow you to lose, but for their wealth to remain. Even their value in, I don't know how they have like, their different cryptocurrencies coordinated, but they wouldn't be doing it if they weren't making a bundle, right? And same for the banks. I mean, like, yeah, they're making money off of interest payments, or they're making money off of fees or fines or something. And I guarantee you, it's going to be a lot if they're actually selling Bitcoin, and it's not costing them probably, um, you know,
This is digital. How much you can? Oh, but they would have to put it in a data center.
yeah,
They would have to have it stored. See, and
yeah.
that's the other thing that's kind of bothered me is, man, again, I don't know this, but apparently with NFTs, you actually can sell your graphic or post or whatever it is.
Mm.
I'm just going to use an example that makes sense to me. So I decide I'm going to take a picture of this water bottle and I'm going
Yeah,
to sell it. I'm just going to go ahead and assume with NFTs, I'm selling
right.
it for cash and I'm not selling it for like Bitcoins because that doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. I'm going from one thing to something else that I can't use. Then people buy that image. Why? This literally makes no sense. This is stupid. I hate to say this. I hate to say people are stupid for doing something, but if
Mm.
I'm understanding NFT right, why are you doing this? Not you, but why
Yeah,
are
yeah,
you doing this?
yeah.
Like, for what? You're just selling an image. You literally could go take a picture with your camera
Hmm.
and sell it to your friend for $1 and then
Hmm.
sell it to other. What's the difference between that and
Yeah.
a? Because if I buy a painting and an artist paints one painting, that makes it special. NFTs, you could just keep producing it, keep producing it, keep producing it, keep producing it, keep producing it.
I, I'm getting an echo.
What did you say?
I'm getting an echo.
Oh, that may be me.
I don't know. Uh, yeah, there it is.
I'm not getting any echo on my end.
It's like my, voice is delayed, and then I hear it on your side. Maybe it's fine.
Okay. So Parker says, well, let me put up Parker's comment. Thank you, Parker, for commenting so much because he's bringing up a lot of things that I didn't even say. It seems like the largest real use for crypto is for criminal operations. This is what, like money laundering, black market scamming. It does. It sounds like the worst Ponzi scheme I've ever heard of. And I'm like, why is y'all falling for this? This doesn't make sense. You got to have money. You can't just, if you were going to make digital currency the future, first of all, that's not going to happen. Let's just keep it real. The government is going to continue to issue currency, it's not going to stop.
Right.
But let's just say the government says, you know what? Maybe let's just say tomorrow the government says no, no more dollars. We're not, and I'm saying dollars, I mean 20s, 50s, 10s, 5s, ones, etc. I mean the whole gamut. We're not going to produce any more physical currency. It's all digital. Well, good luck with that because you just crashed the United States economy. You literally just crashed it because there's no way for us to operate, from my understanding, if I'm understanding what you're saying,
Yeah.
without currency. And then how much cryptocurrency would they create? And then where are they going to store all this? You would have data centers everywhere.
I'm like waiting for. It's really weird. I'm waiting for your. It's like your speech is leaving. I wonder if I should leave and then come back.
Yeah, you might want to try that because I can hear you fine.
I wonder if. Can I try that?
Yes,
All
go
right.
ahead.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let me try that. Oh shit.
So while Paul is doing that, continue to put your questions in the chat because you guys are having some really good questions that I didn't even think of. Do you want me to remove you? Oh, now he's froze. I can't do it. Um, I think another thing that confuses me. Okay, so
Okay. I think I knew
uh,
what the problem was. I had the I had the YouTube open in the same
oh yeah, that'll do it.
that
Parker
was it
is
was
letting
driving me
me.
crazy. I was like, ah, loop, I can't hear what she's saying. I can hear what you're saying, but then like yeah, so you can't the system would collapse. Like you can't have like you could not
See,
have a functioning economy without state the state providing currency. This is how it's worked for 5,000 years. The state creates currency to mobilize real resources in the world. Cryptocurrency doesn't exist to mobilize real resources. It exists to as like um, a basic income for rich people. It works as like an invest, like super rich people, and it works as like a Ponzi scheme for the people kind of left at the bottom who can't, swim their way to the top, basically. It,
that's what it sounds. I'm like, this is the biggest Ponzi scheme
yeah,
that I've ever heard. It just did. It's something about it I knew wasn't right, but I couldn't pinpoint it.
yeah,
But it just sounded like, well, wait a minute. If you do that, then you got to do this, and then you got to think about this, and then you got to think
yeah.
about this. My other question is it regulated? Does our
Oh
government have?
my God, no! Oh my God, no!
It's not.
Uh, no, not. I mean, and
Wait,
this was, and so we
you
had a
got to be
really
lying to me.
no, no,
You
no,
got
no.
to be lying to me.
So I mean, it really is a wild west right now in so many ways. I mean, like, what are you going to regulate too? Like, I'm not sure what there is to regulate exact. I mean, we had an episode. I forget who it was with. It wasn't with Victor Vernissage because he talked about like the kind of the structure and the technology of blockchain and the way that you could use blockchain as a technology for more democratic uses, for other not as a monetary instrument, but like you could use blockchain for other stuff. But there was this great guy who we had as a and it was about I think it was Bill Black. Actually, Bill Black, it was he was a financial regulator back in the 90s. I think he was actually famous for bringing down what was called the Keating Five, which was like some kind of financial scam, enormous financial scam, one of the largest in the country's history, I think. And so a lot of the episode was about how the Trump administration was using crypto, and these kind of like crypto schemes, to defraud the American people out of like I mean hundreds of billions of dollars, and even more for the tech oligarchs who Trump is working for. Like that's what your friend in the chat said. The billionaire, the tech oligarchs bought off Trump, because he was anti crypto in the first term, and then like he turned 100%. I mean, like the tech oligarchs saw an opportunity, and there was a type of crypto that the Trump administration was pushing. There was a bill about it. I forget what it was called
I
now.
know he did his own NFT. Now I do know Trump did his own
Yeah,
NFT,
I
but
can look. I can look it up. Now I'm kind of interested. It was there was a particular type of currency, Trump back. There's a bill that they had. Now, yeah, it wasn't Trump coin or Melania coin. It was something else. Backed. Like I know I could find it on one of our episode. Um, crypto. Let me just, I guess, this is probably not good for live stream. The Genius
Oh,
Act,
somebody
yes.
said Dogecoin.
Um, yeah,
Dogecoin.
it was called the Genius Act, and it was supposed to set up this kind of regulatory framework, what they call stable coins, and I'll just read that it mandates the Genius Act is just in 2025. And stable coins is a type of cryptocurrency. Like I guess there's the stipulations are that like it mandates that stablecoin issuers hold 100% reserve backing in liquid assets such as US dollars and short-term treasuries, and requires that public composition disclosures to ensure consumer safety. But there are all these like ridiculous loopholes and like conflicts of interest and all this kind of stuff that are, were widely apparent when Bill Black was doing this interview with us. He was detailing like in any number of ways that Trump is benefiting. I mean, the government is just pumping out money for him basically, and his tech oligarchs. I forget exactly some of the, but if you wanted to learn more, I can find the Bill Black episode for a real for that we had him on Macro Cheese probably, I don't know, maybe 5 months ago or something like that. Really kind of disgusting. Goes along with all the other stuff that Trump is doing. All of the other kind of financial frauds where he's being paid off by the Saudis or the Qataris or all these people, right? It's yeah, really kind
They
of
didn't use Bitcoin to do it.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, like, I could be wrong, but I wouldn't assume so. I've used U.S. dollars probably, right?
So the way that the Andrew Yangs of the world, because I know he was really pushing for this, and he really does.
Mm,
I think the Forward Party pushes for this.
yeah.
See the benefit, because I know. Please correct. If current currency, like the dollar bill and the 5 and the 50 and the 1, that's
Mm.
regulated.
Yeah. I mean, it's regulated. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're regulated. Like the bank regulations that we have obviously are tilted heavily towards.
Right. They're tilted. But yeah, what I'm getting at is they exist.
Yeah.
Like they're terrible, but they exist.
I
If
mean,
there's nothing for Bitcoin, how do they ensure that people aren't getting scammed out of dollars? Or is
yeah.
it just sucks for you?
I mean, I think it is a lot of that. I really do think it is. Let me look. Wait. Okay. Yeah, it's called Naked Corruption. It was episode 350. It's called Naked Corruption with Bill Black. I'll put it in the chat actually if I can. Let's see if I can. Oh, can I join it? Oh no, I have to connect to YouTube to do that. Where can I point? Where can I paste this? I can paste it to you in the private, and you can
Yep.
just copy it.
And I can put it on the page.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
think that's what I was like, what? And then
Yeah,
and what?
yeah.
Because I did the way they just it's just digital currency. I also was reading in May of 2027, 2021, China banned federal institutions and payment companies from
Yes,
being able to provide cryptocurrency.
yes,
Okay, so American politicians are always bragging about the US is the most powerful country in the world.
yes.
Okay, so let's just say China is number 2.
Hmm.
If they can regulate it, yeah, here comes
Oh,
my
right.
question on the word. Um, like we just gonna stand by and just do nothing?
Yeah. Well, here's a really important, consideration, and it's something we talk a lot about. We had a episode, socialism with Chinese characteristics, where we interviewed Steve interviewed Yang Ling and but others as well. The Chinese government is not subordinate to capital, is not subordinate to the oligarchs, to the tech oligarchs, to any of the other capitalists in their country. Like capitalists exist in China, right? But they
Right.
exist at the pleasure of the state. Like if the capitalists aren't operating according to the Chinese Communist Party's 5-year plans. I mean, the Chinese Communist Party is embedded in the largest capitalist enterprises required to be embedded in the largest capitalist enterprises in China. If those capitalist enterprises aren't operating for the state's benefit as far as the party sees fit, the Politburo or whatever, you're done, right? Like either you're downsized, you're or if you're stealing from your consumers or if you're stealing from your employees, ooh, that's big trouble for you in China, right? That you'll spend a lot of time in prison or executed or something like that if you operate like Elon Musk does, right? If you're shitty to if you're bad to your workers, if you're you're stealing from your community, the Chinese government doesn't allow that. So they wouldn't. The Elon Musk's of the world wouldn't be allowed to exist in China. But they've determined they've determined a lot of other things. They've determined like for-profit schools in China are not allowed. Like I think that they're completely illegal. Right now we have how many kids with debt crises still paying off their college you know
I do want to kind of change this because, and it's still within the cryptocurrency vein,
yeah.
but I always wonder, I've been this skin color my whole life. And I'm like, well, how does crypto affect the Black community? And
Mm,
wouldn't you know it, I found what I was looking for because this is what initially started the conversation. And
mm-hmm,
I'm going to just read it, and you can tell me whether you disagree with this or not. So, this is just a search I did. So, it says Black Americans have increasingly adopted cryptocurrency as a tool to bypass traditional financial systems, which have historically excluded them from practices like redefining. Driven by racial wealth gap and desire for financial autonomy, a significant percentage of Black investors have turned to digital assets to build wealth
mm,
on their own terms. And then it
mm,
goes into why cryptocurrency appeals to the Black community.
mm,
Financial inclusion. Traditionally, banking systems often require high minimum balances, specific credit histories, and strict income verifications.
mm.
Crypto platforms often have low barriers to entry with no middle term or no middleman or institutional gatekeeper for blocking or passing.
Right.
Then there's wealth building. With historic disparities in home ownership and retirement savings, many view digital assets as a fast track opportunity to bridge the massive racial gap.
Eh,
And then
eh,
finally, decentralization, the concept of
yeah.
controlling one's own assets without relying on centralized banks or government authorities is highly attractive to
Right.
communities that have faced systemic discrimination.
Yeah. So there are a few things. The last one right there, I kind of mentioned before, right? Like there's this idea that it's decentralized, but like it, because of the way that blockchain works, it's like it's a decentralized technology and that kind of stuff. But if you know, and people vote on people who have a certain amount of credits, I think it's a vote on how things within that uh, crypto space work. But if a vast majority, and I mean like a vast, of like something like 80% of the crypto stock or that the crypto wealth is owned by like 5 or 6 people, how decentralized really is that, right? Like it's not at all. It's replacing one centralized system for arguably one that's still centralized but now has no regulation behind it. Um,
Right. And I don't like the way that they said it. Wait a minute. Hold on a
And
second.
think about like the number of like quick get rich quick schemes that we've had in the United States, and how all of them are so. This is Troy. Troy, you can read it. Maybe you want to read that.
Um, for savings accounts, maybe crypto works. I doubt that savings accounts. I mean, they're like what 3%. Like they're not even. Ugh. Okay, though risky, it's not actually money. Though money is
Right.
a legal construct.
Yep.
Then he says, to me, crypto is like buying gold, but worse. But at least with gold, you can exchange it for something. Like I can like go like I could literally
Yeah.
walk into a store with gold and somebody was like, "Oh, I want to buy that." Well, it's still currency. So I see the point. I just like
Yeah.
that, like my Chuck E. Cheese's coins better. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean, what utility value does gold? I mean, it depends on what kind of situation you're in, right? We had Brett Scott is actually a really good listen on this as well, because he has, I think his site is called Abu AB something like alternative. Ah, Rob, if you're in there, put it in the chat, because I can't forget Brett Scott's channel. He does a lot on like kind of like thinking about how currency works, and new concepts of like thinking about currency and kind of stuff. But uh, like it money is, like Troy said, money is a legal construct, and crypto is not. It's it's a tool. It's a private tool that's used to accumulate wealth, really. And that's why gold is better than crypto, but gold's actually not currency unless it's meant by the federal government.
But it is
Yeah,
though,
right.
because remember those dollar coins? Remember the dollar coins, everybody? Those are
Yeah,
made out of gold,
but
kind of.
only their currency, because the United States government says their currency. Same as back in like
Yeah.
the goes same as back in the olden Roman. It was no different. Gold was just a commodity until it was stamped by the king, and it was something that you could use to pay your taxes. I mean, people paid other stuff. People paid their taxes and other stuff. In England, most taxes were actually paid in wheat, and so you weren't actually using the currency itself. But it doesn't become money as such until the state issues it into existence. It's not. I hope that makes sense. It's otherwise it's just a commodity. It's just gold, and money. You could have a piece of paper that says $100 on it, but unless it's issued, and this is, I mean, there's a great quote by Hyman Minsky, who said that anyone can create money. Question is getting it accepted. So like I can write on this piece of paper here $100, Paul dollars. But who's going to take this piece of paper? Can I go to like the grocery store and like turn this in? Like it could be used like maybe between friends or something like that, and or family, like an IOU. But that's all money is. It's just an IOU. It's an IOU that the state creates, and it requires your taxes, your fines, your fees to be paid in that piece of paper, that debt that the state has created. That's what gets it. That's what gives the money value, right? That you have to take this. Like I have to work for a certain number of these, so that the government doesn't come after me and take all of my stuff and put me in jail. That's what gives, and it's really a fundamental MNT point. That really it was MNT's kind of big,
Right. And
big
I think
awakening.
that bothered me about that article or that little section I was reading. They brought up some really good points.
Mm,
Banks have been known to discriminate against blacks. Banks
yeah.
have been known to have a
Yep.
requirement for higher credit scores.
Yep.
Banks have been known to do the things that they're doing. And this is being marketed like, oh, this is an alternative. Where my argument would be, no, it's only five white guys. Yeah, you don't have to like me, but five white guys that own the majority.
Yeah.
I I can't afford to invest in Bitcoin. If I'm going to invest in something, which I don't have the money to do, but let's just use this as an example. I'd rather go out and buy gold bars.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm just looking at the two, I'm like, well, at least gold has a
Yeah.
value. Bitcoin, to me, the way you're describing it, it doesn't even have a value unless somebody else wants it. And then what
Right.
happens? Like it's more market based driven, right? What happens if people just say,
Yeah.
we really did like the dollars. We really did like going in and getting 2 20s and a 10 for a 50.
The,
We really did like that. And that's what our current system is based off. Let's just get it and then everybody leaves. Or
the,
the NFT craze, where everybody was buying NFTs and
yep.
now they're practically worth nothing.
Yeah. There are a lot of similarities, and this is why I brought up like kind of like the Ponzi scheme kind of angle. There are a lot of similarities to how the derivative market operated. I didn't know that crypto I guess really did kind of emerge after the great financial crisis 2008 2009, but like there are a lot of similarities to the way derivatives that collapsed our economy were structured in the same way that like these kind of like betting on bets. Like that's what the derivatives really were. Like they and when the market when or I guess they overflowed with debt, the whole thing collapsed. When specific, especially because the economy, the real economy that was there was not was kind of like support. It was like holding it up. There's a great like meme of the dollar, the U.S. dollar currency holding up the value of crypto, and that's kind of what it is, right? Like it's buoying the state is buoying the value of the currency, and that's just something that I wanted to mention as far as like banks being discriminatory against African Americans for whether it's redlining or loans or whatever else for like the entire history in the United States, right? Basically, I mean, some maybe argue that it's gotten marginally better for African Americans and for other minorities, but long history of discriminatory behavior, right? And but the banks don't exist just like apart from government. The banks are always agents of the state, and so those whatever discriminatory behaviors banks were enforcing or using were a function of what of the state's prerogative, right? Whatever the state wanted. If the state didn't want redlining by banks, well, they would have written a law to outlaw that, right? If they didn't want to have minorities really destroyed over interest rates or whatever or not in the great financial crisis. So Obama bailed out the banks, he didn't bail out homeowners, right? Kind of the same thing. Like that was a political choice, and in the same way, the discriminatory behavior by banks was a political choice by the government to allow that to happen. The
Yeah,
whole bunch of
and
comments in the
right.
chat.
I'm going to get to the comments here in a second because um that's my point. They're using that. Like
Mm,
the pro
yeah,
cryptocurrency people are using that to say, "Hey, black people, they're locking you out, they're locking with you. Go with us.
yeah,
Advocate for us."
yeah.
And I'm saying it's the same system.
Yeah,
You only have like what? Maybe 5, 6
yep,
rich billionaires owning the whole thing. Now, if it were community based,
right.
I still wouldn't like it because you got big, huge data centers that it would take to support it. But
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, like
um,
it create and this is a bit big in the news recently. I know it's for AI use, but it's big in the news recently about their data centers they've been put up all over the place. Against obviously clearly against the wishes of
people,
average
yeah,
residents there, and they're in town hall saying no, we don't want this, and the council say, well, we don't care. You know,
absolutely. And that's what I don't like is when you use black suffering to make a profit. It irks my last working
yeah,
nerves. I'm
yeah.
just like I can't stand it. But you guys are doing a great job with these comments. Um, Yes, I am right about discriminate. I mean, it's so
Oh,
blatant.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
they know they do it.
yeah.
Um, I mean, when you're locked out of the banking system, I see your point. That's my point was, hey, they're
Right.
exactly the same, but they're using black pain to get black investors to say, hey, let
Hmm.
me put my money in something not actually backed by currency. So next comment in the Mexican immigrant community, there's a Tanda system. One person in the community who is highly trusted and respected acts as the community banker and
Hmm.
agrees to put in $100 a month. I think that's the rest of it. Oh, and after 3 months or so, they can take out a loan for $1,000.
Huh. So it's like it is kind of that sounds a little bit like I don't know, I don't know if that's really mutual aid.
You've heard of micro loans that work like that.
Yeah, but like internal to like a community like that,
Yeah.
it's separated from. And this one I'm having a problem with.
Nelson, money used to be based and backed by gold until we changed it to backing in oil. Like oil ain't gonna never run out. They just act like we're gonna just have oil
Mm,
forever in a day. But okay, but coins have no backing unless someone puts a theoretical value to do its rarity.
yeah. So even like again, like I said before, even when we were on a gold standard, it wasn't the fact that you had such and such amount of gold that gave the dollar value. Even when we were on gold standard, even when there were nations that had their currency that were made out of gold, even when like the actual coins were gold, it wasn't the gold that gave the currency value. It was the fact that you were required to pay your taxes. You were required to pay your taxes to the king, to the pope, to the your local warlord or whatever. That's what gave it its value. That's what money is not a finite resource. Even um, it's a necessarily a creature of the state that the state creates to mobilize. A state wants a castle built or something like that, and it will impose a tax on its citizens, and it says, okay, in order for you to retain your land, because I have this giant army and I will destroy your village if you don't do something for me. Well, in order to fulfill your obligation to me and pay me my tithe in this currency that I've created, you're going to need to build something for me. You're going to need to build my castle, or you're going to need to work the land, or whatever it may be. Uh, and so that's what gave the currency value under the gold standard, and that's what gives it value today. It's not based on oil. I know people have a lot of these kinds of um, this misinformation about the petrodollar and something and stuff like that. It's the
And we yeah, and we
it's
keep getting
not
more. Thank you guys. I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to
no,
interrupt you.
it's not oil that gives the dollar value. It's the ability for the United States to impose a tax in the U.S. dollar, that gives the dollar value, and it's
So,
what's always given the dollar value.
so you mean, in other words, the government gives it its value?
Yes. Yep. Warren Mosler would say it's taxes turn litter into money, meaning
Yeah,
has no value before and then it has value. I mean that is what fiat is, and you can say, okay, but the gold coin, what can you do with a gold coin? I mean, you can't do any. You can't eat it. You can't make a fire out of it. Like it has no intrinsic value, and you can trade it, right, like a commodity. But that's I mean, it, it has like commodity value because someone else would want it to make some jewelry or something like that. But other than that, gold has no more value than a piece of paper.
and
It's
think
good.
about it, guys. Here's a joke. This is obviously a joke. Remember all those gold chains Mr. T wore? like, what was he real? I mean, that's all he could do with it. It wasn't like he said, "Look, I got all
Yeah,
these gold chains. I want
yeah,
that house right there."
yeah.
He
And,
still had to pay for currency.
and all the gold standard did was unnecessarily limit our nation from spending. It said that if we only have our the dollar the value of the dollar is tied to such and such amount of gold, and so if we spend more cash, the government creates more dollars that gets split amongst the same amount of gold that you already have that's supposed to be based on, well, then you're going to devalue your currency. But unnecessarily, because you don't need to have that restriction, to have that kind of that unnecessary what do they call it? Pegging. You're pegging your currency to a finite rare earth commodity. It's the same way that if you limit it, if you tied it to anything else, any other commodity, it unnecessary. And when we did need to spend more during the Depression, we ended it. The whole world ended the gold standard because it unnecessarily limited nations from spending on their populations.
I only made that because everybody remembers he wore all those gold chains. Like
Yeah.
everybody remembers he went there anymore. But I'm like, he didn't do anything with them. He would just
Yeah.
keep adding more and add more and add more.
Yes. Yes. As Troy says, petrodollars is just numeraire. It's like a petrodollar is like an inch. Like it is if people are talking about, oh, the petrodollar is going to collapse. Is the inch going to collapse too? It's just a measurement tool. That's all the petrodollar is. Now you can say, we use the dollar internationally as a tool of empire, and we definitely do. That's 100% true. And especially in relation to like digital currencies, all the dollars in the world. You think of like all the U.S. dollars. I don't know how many trillions and trillions of some tens and tens of trillions of dollars in the world. They don't exist outside of the Federal Reserve. They don't exist outside of the central bank. All the money in the world, I know this is kind of like abstract and something like that, but if you were to take a $10 bill out of your wallet, that $10 bill is not actually money. And I know it's going to sound really weird, but like that $10 bill is not money. It's a representation of the money that exists in the Federal Reserve. All the money that exists, whether it's in China, China has ownership of it, ownership of that wealth, ownership of those dollars. They all exist in a spreadsheet at the Federal Reserve. And so when we were going, I don't know if you remember, like when the Ukraine war was happening, pretty hot and heavy. What was it, like 2 years ago or so? And Russia came under, sanctions, right? Like the United States froze all of the assets that Russia had, and that were denominated in U.S. dollars, because all those U.S. dollars sit at the Federal Reserve. They don't exist in Russia. They're in New York, or they're in Kansas City, or one of, I forget, I think we have 12 Federal Reserve banks. And so it exists at one of those, and it exists on a spreadsheet. And so, all the people talking about BRICS and all this kind of stuff, and, developing an alternative system that goes outside of the US dollar, what they're really talking about is creating a network. Like we have the SWIFT system in the United States, worldwide. That's kind of the dominant payment system that used to be used for international payments and used for trade and all that kind of stuff. If you don't have access to the SWIFT system, like this is what we did to Russia, we just froze their accounts. We froze their access to the SWIFT system. So, when China and Brazil and South Africa and Russia, they're all talking about building an alternative financial structure, what they're really talking about is a way to evade the system of sanctions that U.S. empire imposes on other countries to force it to do certain things. You know, so and the other way that we use it, the dollar as a tool of empire, is like debt peonage. So we did the same thing in Ukraine, right? We enforce these kinds of structural agreements for them to take on debt denominated in US dollars, which they can only pay back in US dollars. And if they default or whatever, they are required to open their capital accounts, open their doors for U.S. privatization or just international privatization. And that's how so many of these countries in the global South get into the debt entrapment schemes that they can't get themselves out of, and then they get privatized by U.S. corporations. It's really disgusting, but it's been going on for like the entire history of like the World Bank, the IMF, all these kinds of very anti-democratic colonialist financial institutions that existed to keep these burgeoning nations that might be against the United States, doesn't want to allow the United States in to do whatever, to force it to into uncomfortable political positions. We had an example, same with the embargo that we enforced. Similar, I guess, similar to the way that we enforced embargo on Vietnam. After we just discussed this in our last episode, like 1975, when Vietnam won the Vietnam War, United States in response imposed a 20-year embargo on them. We didn't need the dollars. It was $145 million debt peonage that the previous fascist South Vietnamese government had incurred by the United States. But the United States doesn't need that $145 million. The United States government creates hundreds of millions, billions of dollars every time it spends. It does. Even in 1973, before we are 1970, before we ended the gold standard completely internationally, we didn't need the $145 million then either. We used our financial might, the U.S. dollar, as a bludgeon against the state of Vietnam, the communist state of Vietnam that we just lost. Our worst defeat ever in United States history too. Yes, Rob says macaroni and cheese featuring Illinois. Yes.
Final thoughts or questions before we wrap up. I did not think this episode was going to go that long, but
no.
I always learn. No, I'm glad, because now I can tell people, hey, don't put your money in that Bitcoin. So don't do it.
Yeah, don't. It's not. It's for them. It's not for you. It's to their benefit. It's not to yours. And
you'd be better off going to Chuck E. Cheese's and getting them coins and just buying as much ice cream and whatever it is they sell now. But tell us where we can find your group, or tell us a little bit about your group,
sure.
Real Progressives.
So Real Progressives, we started in 2016, 2017 with the kind of like the Bernie, I guess maybe even before that Steve started, but we were mostly a Bernie-crat organization long before I joined. But we were an MMT organization. So modern monetary theory, again, describes what money is, how it works, what the limits to a monetarily sovereign nation are as far as spending, what could it do with its currency. So we started off really mostly as an MMT organization, and slowly we started to become, more political, more radical a little bit. And we like to bill ourselves, because a lot of MMTers don't recognize the fact that this is not a democracy. And, if you don't understand that this is an oligarchy, then you won't understand why the system is operating as it is. You'll think that, okay, we can have a Green New Deal, we can do this and that because the state, the United States is a currency issuer and it has all this ability to spend and create. Well, why doesn't it? And so that's the question, that once you understand what MMT actually shows, what the limits for a currency issuing nation actually are, then the next question you should ask is, okay, well, why aren't we doing that? Like, if this is obvious and this is not like contested, and it's not really, if you were to ask like the people who work at the Federal Reserve, they say, okay, yeah, that's kind of how it works. That is how it works. Okay, they looked at Stephanie Kelton's book. Okay, yeah, that is how it works. They looked at Randy Ray's papers. That is kind of how it works. So if they know that, then why isn't our government providing us Medicare for all? Why isn't it doing K through 12 education, secondary school education, public or public housing, for, eliminating homelessness and limiting, we have, I forget what tens of millions of kids that we have who are food insecure. Like, okay, well then why isn't our government do this? If it could, well, because it does not. The state doesn't operate for our interests, right? The state is a representation of ruling class interests, and we're not in the ruling class. So we at Real Progressives exist at the cross section of macroeconomic literacy, which is MMT, understanding what money is, and class analysis. Why are things the way they are? And so we go into a lot of socialist theory and a reading of socialist theory, Marxist theory, so we're one of maybe the only organization that's actually trying to combine those two, because there's so many socialists who look at MMT and think this is capitalist apologia, and it's not. It's just a description of the way every monetary system works, or virtually every really every monetary system works. It's just little details here and there. So yeah, that's what we are. We're a activist, educational organization trying to bridge the gap between macroeconomic literacy and socialist theory, I guess you could say.
Tell us where we can
Oh,
find Real
yes.
Progressives.
Realprogressives.org. We have a Substack, which you can just search for Real Progressives on there. Facebook pages. Actually, I have a, I could pull it up, I guess. I could share it as my screen, maybe. Can I do that? Image file, maybe. It's here. Where is it? Oh, no. No, I don't have it here. Oh, here it is. You might be able to present that. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can
Yeah, I
present.
can.
That shows some of we have a MMT for RP group on Facebook, which is maybe most active one. But yeah, YouTube, Patreon, Substack. Macro and Cheese is our podcast that's released every Saturday morning. And again, Macro and Chills are kind of a webinar that we do every Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So you're Central, I guess, right? So 7
And I'm
p.m.
Eastern.
Oh, you're Eastern too? Oh, okay. You're right on the
Yeah,
edge there.
Indiana's always unless I lived in northern Indiana, I live in central Indiana. So we
Okay.
always follow New York. I'm always
Okay.
Eastern Standard.
Cool. Cool. Okay.
Um, guys, you guys have really knocked out the comment section. I'm like, "Oh, this is going to be the last comment." No, it's not, because we got three more remaining. So, LOL, I saw the story about people signing up for these Trump phones, which
Oh
apparently
God.
this is new to
Oh
me,
God. I
and
sort of
putting
mess. Oh my
large
God.
deposits down on the new Trump phone, but none of them have shipped. Gee, I wonder why. I'm
Yeah.
so shocked. Have shipped or given a release time, and now it's been several months later. Um, this comment, MMT is apolitical
Mhm.
at its core and does not need implementation, only understanding.
Mhm.
And finally, we're going to give Nelson the last word. When you were asking why won't we do things, it's because this country has a problem with socialized democracy and is busy putting it down while pushing the cancerous capitalism system, which is ultimately true.
Yep.
Guys, thank you. This is probably not going to be the last time I discuss this, because I always learned something. Like I said,
Mhm.
I'm new to this MMT thing.
Mhm.
I'm always like, I don't know if I can talk about it, but it's better than it was
Yeah.
in terms of my understanding. But I wanted to talk about this cryptocurrency because I hear so many people, oh, it's a great investment and it's a great investment. I'm like,
Mhm.
doesn't seem like I knew something was wrong with it, but I
Yeah.
couldn't. You helped me pinpoint it. So thank you, thank you. Remember everybody um to
I,
like this podcast. Share it with five people.
yeah.
Share this podcast with five
Yes.
people.
Yes.
Please
Yes.
share it. Share it, share it, share it. This is probably one of the better ones I've done. Um,
I'll
I'm
just say
trying to
this
get
about you, Tracy. It's your curiosity that's most important. So many people think that they're, their arrogance fills their heads, and they're not interested in learning. That's what's so amazing about you, is that you're always willing to reach out and ask for, point on this or point on that, and it's your curiosity that's I think, ha- if you don't have curiosity, that's not a good trait, right? And if you're in, your level of curiosity is incredible, and it's awesome, and your commitment to our organization, just showing up every week, is incredible as well. So I really appreciate it.
I'm not going to tell Steve he owes me an interview. He already knows it. But I am going to say this. I'm going to go up here because I do want to highlight one thing, and I'm trying to go all the way back to the beginning. This is going to be the most important announcement that I make on this show today. Please contribute to our drama camp. And that goes with this show because August the 16th, there will not be a Sunday show because I will be at the performance of the Born Again Identity, which is the play that we will be doing. But we need money to do that. If you could donate $5, $10, 20, or heck, if you got money rolling like that and want to contribute the whole 3,000, thank you very much. But I will be talking about this on every single program I do. I'm I don't like to say leading it, but this was kind of my idea to engage our children. They are so important. Um, so I will be ad nauseum, just get used to it. It is what it is. But remember, that's the link. Um, definitely share, comment, subscribe, share, comment, subscribe one more time, share, comment, subscribe. 115 days to go until the NFL comes back. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Paul, for coming on again, and kind of guiding me through this whole journey. I always will, if I don't know, I will always ask because this is one of the few things in terms of a political movement that I just don't know about. So I'm always wanting to learn, and you were so patient. Um,
I'm sorry about the
thank you.
outburst. Sorry about the outburst. So embarrassed. Won't happen ever again. I swear. I swear.
You may not have, you know, I'm lying. You'll be back. You know, I'm lying. I'm not even going to tell that lie. But thank you. Thank you all so much. Have a great evening. Thank you. Bye bye.